Hey everyone, welcome back to Rise of an Empire, the show where we let a professional sports team dictate our happiness. I'm CJ, and that's Wolf, and today we'll be talking about Niners news and NFL news. And Wolf has a realistic mock draft for us, so
Yeah.
let's get into that.
So it's a predictive mock draft, realistic, yeah. Um, but there are no trades. So it's not exactly what I think the Niners are going to do. It's more so who I think the 49ers are targeting at these respective places.
Right.
Like any mock drafter, hope to get at least one of these picks, right? Because
Yeah.
that's how this stuff goes. So let's,
Yep.
start off with a wrench. Round one, pick three, North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance. What do you think?
I mean, you alluded to this in the last episode, so I kind of expected it. But I mean, listen, it's better than Mac Jones, and that's all I
Yeah.
care about at this point. I I like it. You gave your reasoning. I'll let you expand upon that a little bit. Um, but you know what? I won't be ecstatic with the pick. But I also won't hate it. I'll just kind of be indifferent and be like, all right, you know what? He's got a high upside. If anyone's going to get the most out of Trey Lance, it's going to be Kyle Shanahan. So he clearly sees something. So I'm going to trust him on it. And it's not Mac Jones, like I said. So I don't have a problem with it. And I could definitely see it happening.
Yeah, there is a caveat though. A lot of people kind of consensusly agree that Trey Lance is gonna need time.
Yeah.
But based on the film that I have watched, he is a day one plug and play into this specific scheme because a lot of the things he did at not North Carolina, North
No.
Dakota State were extremely similar to what we do here in the Bay, outside zone scheme, a lot of play action, bootlegs, that kind of thing. I think that Kyle Shanahan can give him a lot of easy throws, the kind of bubble screens and touch passes that he gives to Debo, and he can play day one in this specific scheme. I don't think he's a day one starter in most schemes, but
No.
because of Kyle Shanahan, because of this specific, the way we run things down here, I think he can play day one, which is why I think he's the pick at three. So round two, pick 43, Florida wide receiver Kadarius Toney. What do you think?
I like it a lot. I think wide receiver is a sneaky need on this team, at least wide receiver depth. Obviously, the top two we got Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel, but after that, it gets very, very foggy at least. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you got Jalen Hurd, who we know has a ton of talent, but he's just always injured. I mean, like he cannot stay healthy, even going back to college. And Kadarius Toney, he is definitely a Shanahan guy. He is a Shanahan wide receiver through and through. I like him a lot, and we've spent a top or a first or second round pick on a wide receiver the last three drafts. We did Dante Pettis, we did Debo Samuel, we did Brandon Ayuk last year, and I could definitely see it happening.
Third round
Obviously,
pick on
Dante.
third too.
Yeah, Jalen Hurd was a third round pick, and I could definitely see it. I like the pick. I would go corner personally, but there's no guarantee that the top four guys, J.C. Horn, uh, Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley or whatever, and Asante Samuel Jr. I like all four of them. I would pick any of them if they were there, but like I said, no guarantee they will be. So I like the pick. I like the pick a lot.
I don't think any of them will be there. That's why I went with Tony. I also agree that wide receiver is a sneaky need. But if you watch the film, he's like a faster, smaller Debo. And I think the key is Debo is great. We all love Debo, but the injuries are serious and they're real. Having him get, one or two less end arounds, one or two less, shovel passes in between the tackles, that would help him. And Tony can definitely do that. So I think Tony would be a really, no, not a nice, a really good addition to this team, provide us with more long-term stability. And wide
Mm-hmm.
receiver three in this offense is pretty much wide receiver two, depending on how many running plays and rushes that
Yeah.
Debo Samuel gets. So This is definitely a player that's on a Kyle Shanahan board. And then here's round three, pick 102. I think historically the Niners have neglected this position, at least, in the premium rounds, but I think they can't anymore. And this is the perfect player for this regime, and that's Stanford quarterback Paulson Adebo. Um, he's, he's from Stanford. Okay, if John Lynch can finally convince himself to get a corner in a premium round besides Akello Witherspoon,
Yeah.
it's going to be a Stanford player or a South Carolina player, and I think it's going to be Stanford cornerback Paulson Adebo. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. Paulson Adebo, I know of. I've watched some of his film, and by film I mean highlights because I don't have all 22.
Yeah.
I like him. I think he's for a third round pick. I think that's really good value there.
Mhm.
Obviously, like you said, we've neglected this position for years, and it's starting to show. It's starting to show. I mean, Jason Verrett's your cornerback one, which isn't necessarily a problem, but then you realize that he has a horrible injury history.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, Emmanuel Mosley, Dante Johnson. I mean, what? No,
Yeah.
no. Dante Johnson has been horrible his entire, like, all 6 tenures he's had with the Niners. So,
Yeah.
I mean, no, I like it. I think Paulson Adebo, I think he's got a lot of upside, and it's definitely it's good value in the third round.
Mhm. He's also not a small corner. I believe he's 6'1", which is good because people fail to realize that Jason Verrett, K'Wan Williams, and Emmanuel Mosley are all below 6 foot. You know who isn't? DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
And the I mean, the freak of a man, DK Metcalf.
six
You
four.
yeah, no, you are not you cannot allow that man to have a 6-inch advantage over your top corner. Okay. It's
Um,
not happening. A 3-inch advantage can be dealt with. And Paulson Debo, if I could describe him with one word, it'd be a playmaker. This man has some ball skills. If the ball goes up, he will come down with it. And I really like that.
yeah, I
Um,
like that a lot.
so round four, pick 117. This is also a sneaky need on offense, and that's going to be fulfilled by Memphis running back Kenneth Gainwell.
Ooh,
Um, yeah, dual threat back for sure. We've always wanted a receiving back. That's why we signed Jerick McKinnon, and we gave him 2 whole years to let us down. Um, I think the reason why I think that they really like North Carolina running back Michael Carter as well, but he's a third round player for sure, and that's being generous. That's being very hopeful.
mhm.
Um, and Wayne Gallman, who we recently signed, really threw a wrench in that. He messed up that plan. Wayne Gallman is a serious player on that, is vying for a legitimate spot on this roster.
Yeah,
But every single running back besides I think Jermichael Hasty is done after this year. Their contract is up. Okay. You got Mostert gone, you got Wilson gone, and you can't rely on that. You have to get some stability, and Kenneth Gainwell will provide that while also being an added element to the backfield with his receiving talents.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, like you said, running back. We have. I mean, Jeff Wilson's probably our second running back right now,
Mhm.
and I don't know what his contract looks like, but I can't imagine he's assigned after this year.
Let me check. I'm
Um,
pretty sure he isn't though.
but
Uh,
I mean, Raheem Mostert, I like Raheem Mostert a lot, but I mean, he's not really like a feature back, I would consider.
just
Yeah.
because of his injury history though.
Yeah.
And both him and Jeff Wilson Jr. have serious injury history problems, okay?
Now,
They
I
do.
probably like Jeff Wilson. I don't know if I'd say more than Raheem Mostert, but I think he's like at least more exciting.
I personally am a Raheem Mostert truther. That dude.
I don't dislike Raheem Mostert at
Oh
all.
yeah,
I
no.
like him a lot, but
And by the way, yes, both Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. are UDFA's. in, I mean, not UDFAs, UFAs in 2021's off, I mean, 2022. So yeah, I think we need to take a running back, and I think we need to take a running back high, which is what I believe they will do. So
Yeah.
moving into round 5, this is a pick I personally love. Round 5, pick 155, LSU corner, Kerry Vincent Jr. This guy was an opt-out, similar to Paulson Adebo and Kenneth Gainwell. I believe that a lot of opt-outs are going to be really good, and they're going to fall in the draft, and the Niners should capitalize on that. Kerry Vincent Jr., he's also a playmaker. He's a slot guy, and K1 Williams cannot be trusted with the slot role. Okay, he's been injured. I don't think he's ever finished a 16-game season with us. This
I
guy
don't
could
think so.
replace him day one in the slot, and if not, he might be able to replace him in the future. I think that's a great 5th-round flyer on a guy who's had 4 interceptions in 2019.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I knew a lot about him. I've heard the name,
Yeah.
and I'm all for taking a corner. Honestly, I would take 3 straight corners after the quarterback that we're inevitably going to take in the first round. But yeah, I think that K1, obviously, it was a question mark that we were going to bring him back. Like, I was kind of a sweet surprise that we were bringing him back,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
at the
Same
same
with
time,
Brett.
yeah, I mean, at the same time, like you brought up, huge injury history. That seems to be a theme on this team, especially in the secondary. I mean, Jimmy Ward, Whiskey Tart, we haven't even mentioned them. They're safeties.
Mhm.
I think they're
Nick
both
Sherman.
on 1-year deals too. But yeah, we need bodies in the secondary, and we need lots of them. So I'm all for it. I like it. I don't really see a problem with it at all. I mean, fifth
Yeah,
round flyer.
yeah, I think that's a great flyer to take. And also that actually goes perfectly because you brought up the safeties into my next pick, round 5, pick 172, Auburn safety, Jamian Sherwood. So you're right. Tart is actually a UFA soon, and Marcel Harris, Tav Moore, you can't trust them. Tart is an FA in 2022, and Jimmy Ward is an FA in 2023. Okay, we need to stack up on pretty much every secondary position. I mean, it's brutal over there. And Jamie and Sherwood is the Niners type of safety, which is assignment sound, sure tackler, and not really much of a catcher, if you will. Not many forced fumbles. I don't think he has any turnovers created. Well, based on the film, it looks like he wasn't credited with one, but he definitely caused it. But yeah, athletic, acrobatic, dives and swats. You can trust him not to blow coverage. I think he's just a safe 5th-round flyer.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, this team knows how to draft fifth round players.
Yeah,
I think the fumble issue, like the turnover issue or whatever you said, a little bit concerning.
it is.
That's kind of what you're looking for, that position. But I mean, oh well. I mean, you kind of just roll the dice at that point.
Mhm.
Um, I would probably, the only issue I would say I have with your mock draft so far is the neglect towards offensive line, specifically interior offensive line. I'm not saying like it's a critical issue or it's impossible that we don't go interior offensive line, because I mean they just picked up McGlinchey's 5th-year option. I don't like
Mhm.
McGlinchey. Granted, he's outside offensive line, but I don't know. I mean, I would probably go offensive line a little bit higher, or just take one. So
Yeah, there is one taken. He's the 2nd pick from now. But
okay.
I totally agree with you. The problem is this is a predictive mock draft, and
Yeah.
historically they really haven't. I think I can't even think of the highest drafted lineman from the Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch era. Is it Colton McKivitz?
I mean, McGlinchey, obviously.
Oh wow, that was embarrassing. McGlinchey. But besides that, I mean, really, it's Colton McKivitz, right? They tend to neglect that position. They do. I mean, they drafted
I mean,
McGlinchey.
they do. I mean, no, it's not no second round picks.
Yeah, no thirds.
I mean, obviously they traded for Trent Williams.
Yeah, but
And
that's fine.
they've just kind of like had a revolving door in that interior. Like Lakin Tomlinson's been the only staple
And
there.
they traded for him too.
Yeah,
So
they traded for him. I know they had Jonathan Cooper on this team at one point. They had one guy, I can't think of his name. Um, got him from the Jets.
the Jets.
I
Tom Compton.
Tom
The wow,
Compton,
what
that's
about?
right.
Oh man, he was a
But yeah,
bad.
the neglect for offensive line, especially interior offensive line, specifically the guards,
Yeah,
very, very
concerning.
questionable. And I'm not saying like obviously guard isn't a premium position like
Mhm,
left tackle, like quarterback, like cornerback, like
mhm.
edge rusher. But I mean, you still got to invest some resources into it. I mean, you could only get away with having like just kind of like, I guess, guards by committee for so
Yeah,
long.
and which is kind of what they're going for. They like to they historically like to be cheap at guard. They
Yeah.
send late flyers on guards. Even if you count Laken Tomlinson as their draft pick because they traded for him with one draft pick. He was a fifth round pick. They sent a fifth rounder for Laken Tomlinson. They drafted Colton McKivitz with a fifth rounder. Um, they've signed Mike Person, Tom Compton, and they've signed Daniel Brunskill. Okay, this is a position they neglect, similar to corner, if not worse. I would argue worse, actually. Oh no, yeah, no, I would argue worse because they haven't even had a splash signing there, like Richard Sherman was for the cornerback group. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So,
granted, I would neglect guard over cornerback
oh
because I
yeah,
think
definitely.
cornerback is a premium position. But
Mhm.
still, I mean, I don't think you should neglect any position other than maybe like,
Long snapper.
yeah, punter, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Which they haven't. They've spent a fourth
Yeah,
round
they
pick.
drafted Mitch Wishnowsky the fourth round.
Yeah, yeah.
Could have taken a guard there. Just
They
saying.
could have taken
Like,
this
it's
one
not
guy.
like Mitch Wishnowsky's like an incredible punter. He's fine. He's
Yeah,
fine.
the best thing about him is the fact it isn't his punting. It's the fact that he'll tackle it on special team.
Yeah,
That I
he's a punter. Why are we talking about punters? Okay,
exactly.
go on with your
uh, round five, pick 180. Miami tight end Brevin Jordan. I personally like this pick a lot because it's finally not one of those blocking tight ends that we can develop. They drafted George Kittle, and ever since then, they are just committed with taking these late round blocking tight ends and trying to turn them into
it's and
receivers.
it's an annual tradition at this
Yeah,
point.
Caden Smith. You got Charlie Warner. I couldn't when we drafted Charlie Warner. I couldn't even find info on him because he had so little passing,
Yeah,
stats. This guy is an actual receiving threat and blocker. He does a lot of leaking into the backfield type of thing. I mean, leaking into the flat. Getting hit out of play action. He's not a burner by any means. Most tight ends aren't, but he's definitely an above average speed tight end. No, and definitely not as fast as Kittle or Waller, but he's kind of around that Kelsey-ish. But he's a hard nosed runner. He'll hit you. He likes running into you, physical runner. But I
yeah,
think what's really key is he at Miami in the red zone, they would put him in the slot, which is what we saw Kyle Shanahan do with Jordan Reed a lot this season. So
yeah.
yeah, I think this is a better than average late round tight end flyer that hopefully breaks that tradition other than Kittle.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, it's a tradition for taking a blocking tight end late in the draft at this point. Charlie Warner, um,
Aiden
his
Smith
name
for
is
me.
already blanking me. Charlie Warner and Caden Smith. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's fine. I'm all for a tight end with potential. Especially now that Jordan Reed is for sure not coming back.
Yeah.
Who do we have there? Ross Dwelly.
Yeah. I mean, Ross
Okay.
Willie, he's
Okay.
good every time he gets play, the
I mean, he's
chance.
probably honestly he's more of a threat in the red zone than Kittle's been, and that's not a knock on Kittle. It's just
No.
that he's just has not been productive in the red zone.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it's fine. And listen, fifth round tight end, good with me. Worked in the past.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll make it 2 out of 4 attempts on fifth round flyers on tight
Hey,
end.
you're
But
betting
like,
500, then that's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good.
exactly. So round 6, pick 194. Finally, Western Michigan tackle, but he has the size and is projected to be a guard. Jalen Moore, kind of he's a little undersized, but he likes to get physical. Nothing too special. Like this is the 194th pick in the draft. This is just bringing in some guard competition, hoping that they can make the most of their opportunity, and I hope that he does.
You said that he was smaller. How tall is he? And like, how much does he weigh?
Let me look that up. He is not that big though, and that's definitely one of the knocks on him, as given that he played tackle.
Yeah,
So
he's definitely an interior guy.
yeah,
So
he's 6'4", 311. So he would be like right on size for a guard, but
I
a
like
tackle.
that because I feel like if you do kick him inside, I think leverage is a big thing, especially against like someone like Aaron Donald.
Oh,
But Mike McGlinchey and a lot of those like bigger, like 6'8" guys, like the Alpha Chads or whatever,
yeah.
um, like they don't like they're too big almost to block
Oh yeah.
someone like a 6'1" Aaron Donald. I mean, like that
Mhm.
you just yeah, you're taller, but like Aaron Donald just has so many moves. He's just like shorter and stockier, so he could get around you and basically bully you. So I think
Yeah.
I like that. I like a player, an interior lineman who is not the biggest, but still has size and has a height advantage over like Aaron Donald, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's a six. We were talking about fifth round flyers. This is a
Yeah.
sixth round pick near the 200s. This is take a risk. Hopefully it works out. But this is around that kind of area where I could see them drafting a guard hopeful.
Hmm.
Yeah. And round 7, pick 230. Auburn linebacker KJ Britt. Linebacker is a sneaky need as well. We have Dre
Okay.
Greenlaw, Fred Warner, who is a dog. Both of them are dogs. Fred Warner on a different level, though.
Obviously.
Besides that, Demetrius Flanagan Foles,
Aziz
Aziz,
Al-Shaair.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need to add to that group. We did sign Nathan Gary or Jerry, and all I've seen from that signing was a bunch of Eagles fans praying for us. So I'm not too enthusiastic about that one either. They are elated that he is not signing back with them. Hopefully, you prove us wrong, Nathan. But as of right now, that's not a great outlook. Still have hope for him, but you need to bring in more competition. And this guy's a down the hill kind of hitter. A little bit questionable in coverage, but the first thing you got to be with linebacker is physical, and he is that pick 230.
Mhm.
Uh, pick 230, man. You're
Yeah,
taking
I mean, like, what are you gonna do in the sixth round? I mean,
seventh round
like
too.
seventh round even. I mean, how
Yeah.
many seventh round players hit? But I mean, like you said about Nathan Gary or Jerry or whatever the hell his name is. Um, he's like if Eagles fans are praying for us, like it means he's probably a camp body at
Oh yeah.
best. At least getting stashed on like the practice squad or something. I don't know how old he is. I think he's been in the league for a minute, but I mean, yeah, seventh round pick. What are you gonna do? You might as well just draft someone, a position of
Nathan Gary is only 26.
someone. Oh well, then yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
He's a camp body. I mean, like he's not gonna do anything. I doubt it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, hopefully he does, but
yeah,
based on the outlook, more competition, the better. So,
yeah,
yeah, that's my mock draft. I am hoping that I hit at least one, which which would be
it'd be
amazing.
good.
That
It
would
would
be
be
awesome.
really good. I
Yeah,
mean,
that would be really
that
good.
one you hit, there's a good chance that it's Trey Lance. That's
I think
easily
I
the
think
most likely.
It's I
Um,
know for a fact though, I can guarantee this. After the draft, regardless of whether or not we take Kadarius Toney, they're going to come out in the same way that they did with Brandon Ayuk in the 2020 draft and said, you know what, we were sitting there at 43, like they were at 14 or
mhm,
13, and they're like CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, that was a
yeah,
hard pass for us. That was a really hard way player to overlook. They're going to do that with Toney if they do not draft him. Um, Before we end this, though, there is one sneaky wide receiver I want to mention, and that's Jalen Darden from, oh man, I think he's from North Texas. Huge numbers, incredible juker, super shifty, slot receiver. Can't really do that end around stuff, but breakaway speed. He'd be in the fourth round, maybe third.
mhm.
If somehow Asante Samuel falls to, or Caleb Farley, who's dropping as well. I mean, who's dropping? Asante Samuel should be rising because that tape says a lot.
He's
Um,
crazy. Reminds
yeah,
me of his dad.
exactly. If any of the top four corners land to, or even Greg Newsome, I would take him too at 43, and we take one of them, which we should. Watch out for Jalen Darden later in the draft. So yeah,
All
that's
right.
my mock. Hopefully, I hit one. That would be awesome. That would be a nice change of pace with these. And yeah,
I like the mock. I will end this by saying one thing though, and I don't know if this has any legs whatsoever, probably not, but I think if there's any chance, and I don't think he will be, if there's any chance Najee Harris falls to that second pick,
oh
I think he'll be a Niner. I mean, he was wearing a 49. That's why I said, like, I don't know if there's any legs to this because he's a Bay Area kid. He was wearing a 49ers mask in some like video he was in.
yeah,
And that's kind of weird to be doing. Like
regardless.
right like the week of the draft. A little
Oh
bit.
yeah, that
Like you
that I mean,
would kind of figure like it would be at least neutral or whatever.
he follows the
So
Niners on Instagram. I'm sure he does on Twitter as well. He's made it clear that he wants to be a Niner. I mean, there have been videos of him of some people trolling him at like the Senior Bowl, saying, "Hey, are you coming to the Niners?" And he's just, "Are you the GM?" You know, that kind of thing. After we traded up to 3, he actually talked to a 49ers reporter or a reporter in general and said that he expected them to take him at 12. So I don't think he makes it past the Steelers in the 20s, or Miami. But
no.
if he makes it to 43,
Somehow
oh yeah, I would
that would
not
be a
put that
boom.
past him.
No,
Put
Najee
that past,
Harris.
yeah.
Great pick. All right.